Excellent. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for participating in this SICCI event. I hand it over to Vice President of SICCI, Mr. V.N. Shivshankar.
Morning, everyone. Gagandeep Singh Bedi, IAS Commissioner Corporation of Chennai, Mr. Shankar Armugam, Chair, SICCI Infrastructure Committee, and other members. It's on behalf of SICCI, I would like to take this opportunity to warmly welcome all of you for today's important event, Innovations in Sustainable Waste Management. Thank you, sir, for sparing time from your pressing schedule and gracing us with your presence. This topic, waste management and road ahead, has assumed global importance. In fact, one of the key agenda items of the United Nations is sustainable development, which includes waste management. Anything today now is linked to environment. Even economic development, buzzword internationally, is not purely economic development for profit generation, but does it address needs of all stakeholders? Does it balance the interests of all stakeholders? So the importance of the ESG mandate, where historically companies have been valued primarily on their earnings potential, profit, growth, etc. Today, all that has taken a back seat, and it is ESG which has now taken the forefront. So all these have significantly changed the mindset of how companies approach their economic goals. Coming to this topic on waste management, there are several stakeholders, and it's necessary that all of them converge on the common agenda for best solutions. Other than probably innovation in technology, certain key regulatory hurdles also need to be crossed. And for this, I think all stakeholders, SICCI can probably provide a platform where we can try to act as the bridge between industry and the regulatory sector. Importance of this topic in Indian context cannot be more relevant today. The growth which India has achieved over the past few decades and the projected growth, where we are poised to overtake most of the major developed economies in the next few years, is very encouraging, but it is also very scary because we still are lagging behind in a few key areas. Knows that we are projected to surpass China as the world's most populous country. Automatically, this means that the waste generation would increase significantly. There has been several initiatives by the government for addressing these issues: the Swachh Bharat initiative, solid waste management rules, e-waste. So a lot of awareness has occurred, a lot of steps have been taken. It is only necessary that this be taken forward in a much larger, broad-based way. The Swachh Bharat mission, National Water Mission, all that has, we are able to see the benefits of that tangibly on the ground. To achieve our goals, we need to ensure that there is a continuous planning. We are not lax in lying back on what we have achieved, and we need to today recycling has also caught on, and there is a potential to create more jobs and generate huge revenues by this recycling. So economic aspects of recycling also is very important, so that it cannot be ignored. Permit me to say a few words about SICCI. We have been at the forefront of serving industry. We continue to be at the doorstep of industry and trying to act as a bridge between industry and the government. We have more than 112 years of service to the nation. Formed under the inspiration of Mahatma Gandhi, we have tried to change to be more relevant. And really taught us a lot, and we had the opportunity to work closely with the government of Tamil Nadu, including in the Yadumure conclave. The Czech delegation, which was led by T.M. Anbarasan, Honorable MSME Minister, Government of Tamil Nadu, was one of the largest in the history of SICCI. All this has enabled.
Mr. Shivshankar, I think your voice is taking some network issue. Maybe you can switch off your video and speak.
Actually, I lost the audio.
Mr. Shiv Shankar? So he would join in back, sir. Sir, I think we have excellent participation now. So already 102 is connected online, and some of the institutions with one connection, we have
in newer
50,
areas
60
where
participants.
it is the duty of a chamber.
Yeah, sorry.
So see, I thank you all. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
And I will like to start early, if you don't mind, because I have I have a commitment. I have to leave after about 10-15 minutes, actually.
Sure, sir.
So whenever you
on behalf of, sir, just a quick introduction. So on behalf of SICCI Infrastructure Committee and JLL as knowledge partner, I thank our chief guest, Thiru Gagandeep Singh Bedi, IAS Principal Secretary and Commissioner, Greater Chennai Corporation, for accepting our invitation. And I'm sure you would provide valuable insights for this committee. And after deliberation, we will come out with recommendations, sir, and we will submit those recommendations for your consideration. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope I am audible. And actually, yes. Somehow I'm using this WebEx after a long time. So still I am having as my APC. That's my former designation, but I didn't have time to change that. I was earlier Agriculture Secretary. So thank you so much. I want to thank the SICCI for having given me the invitation to speak on the innovations in sustainable waste management practices. It's a subject that is very dear to my heart. And I feel that there is nothing that I do need to prepare as such for speaking, because this is something that I do practice, try to practice, improve day in and day out. And there are miles and miles to go before I sleep as a commissioner in this regard, the waste management, especially sustainable waste management practices. So thank you for giving this opportunity, and I'll also like to especially thank Dr. Janak Rajan, our good friend, who had actually initially told me to somehow participate, and I told that I will be, right now also I'm not in my office, and in between then I got a call that it's 10:30 and I should speak, and I thought I should definitely speak, because all of you are very important persons who are listening, and thoughts to you will definitely help the Greater Chennai Corporation in its endeavor, and your assistance is very valuable for us in sustainable waste management practices. Now, let me come to the basic facts. I will basically concentrate on the urban waste management. Urban waste consists of basic garbage that we get, and the garbage can be broadly categorized into two categories: the wet garbage and the dry garbage. The wet garbage is the garbage that comes out of our kitchens, mostly our vegetables, fruit waste, tea leaves, the used tea, and all other things, which ultimately, or food particles, etc., hotel waste, vegetable market waste, etc. They're all called wet waste. These are the wet waste because they all can be easily converted into manure or organic manure, and it can be plowed back into the agricultural system. So there's the wet waste. The second is the dry waste. The dry waste is basically consists of various components such as plastics, bottles, glass, tires, tins, etc., which you can't really decompose as such. So all such dry waste ideally should be recycled back into the system and reused back into the system. Tires into the rubber industry, plastic to again melt and convert to the plastic. Glass again to be reused, melted and used as a glass, and various other components which can be so, and in various other ways the dry waste can also be recycled. So broadly the garbage consists of wet waste and dry waste. The garbage does also consist of biomedical waste. The biomedical waste, has to be broadly the rules all over the country that the biomedical waste has to be handled separately. In Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board takes the biomedical waste from all the hospitals, and then thereafter it is treated through various methods like autoclaving or incineration, etc., in specialized units which are operated under the purview of the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board. Of course, there are hazardous waste, etc., also, which are there, which the hazardous waste. For example, you have this during Deepavali season, all the crackers. So the crackers waste does not go into our garbage dump yards, and it goes to again through Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board's purview. It is actually collected at Gumdi Pundi at the specific site where it is actually processed. So it doesn't come to our regular dump yards as such, and we are actually going to issue a press release also in this regard. Now, the understanding is broadly all over the world. The understanding is that we should not dump our garbage just in the dump yards and ultimately create mounds and mounds of garbage across the city. In fact, what all of you would have seen in Kodungur or Perungudi is very small. But if you go to even Delhi, Ghaziabad, and other places, there are big mounds, hills of garbage, etc. over there. So that besides being a pollution hazard,
Participants, please be on mute.
The participants to mute, please.
okay, I think let me just continue. So the point is, besides being a pollution hazard, a very, very crucial thing is that they tend to be a big potential for garbage waste or dump yard fires. You would have seen last year there was a fire in Perungudi, which in fact I had to 1 week I had to be there in Perungudi inside, walking, going around on the garbage mounds, etc., to control the fire. In fact, 2-3 days itself, my people efficiently controlled, and we are actually in the process of doing biomining over there. So that really helped us a lot. So main point is that now the worldwide the accepted practice is that our wet waste, we should try to compost it as much as possible, convert it to garbage, or utilize into other means, and hence not dump in the dump yard. The dry waste, we should recycle it and also not let it go into the dump yard. Then what actually should come to the dump yard is only inert earth. Inert earth, or for example, you sweep your house, you throw the garbage into the dustbin. So when the garbage will consist of the wet waste, dry waste, and this earth also, the manal, so that sand, so that is the inert earth, which can always be used for filling up our low-lying areas. So Greater Chennai Corporation as such, we have actually initiated a number of aspects. I'll be very short, but I will like to tell. First, let me tell about the wet waste. Wet waste, for example, we are total, for example, in Chennai, we are having about 5,000 tons of garbage is produced every day, 5,000 to 5,500, out of which about 50% is wet waste, 50% is dry waste. Now, out of the wet waste, what we have done is that we have more than 200 places where we are having micro composting centers where the garbage that is collected from the households, we are actually the wet waste, we are bringing over there try to convert into compost. There are various methods of composting called aerobic composting, anaerobic composting, or windrow composting. Windrow means in the large, we actually sieve cut the garbage in small pieces, put it in the sun, put some bacteria on that so that it gets composted. Then allow it to be there, and then after some time again, once it is the bacteria digests the garbage, it gets converted into manure. Then sieve it. We pack it into the bags. After sieving it, it's just very rich organic manure. In fact, GCC in the last few months, we have been every week we have been converting this wet waste converted to organic manure, and we have been uh, giving this manure to the farmers through the agricultural cooperative societies at very small, low prices. For us, earning is not the point, but utilizing the garbage to convert to manure and utilizing it for the farmers' welfare is our preference. We are also pushing the sales of the manure converted from the garbage through the localized sales in the parks across the city. We are pushing this also in a big way across all over the Greater Chennai Corporation. So these are the two methods I've told you. I've told you one, we have got decentralized centers where we do composting, convert to manure, we sell it in our parks, or we sell it to the farmers in gunny bags, or we have windrow composting or other methods of composting where we do it in a bigger scale and again convert to garbage. One third very important aspect that GCC has started, in fact, in South India, it is one of the few places we have done in Chennai, and of course in some other cities of India, recently they have started, that is called conversion into bio-CNG. So in Chetpet, just across Ega Theatre, we have a bio-CNG plant where the garbage is actually collected from hotels, Kalyana Mandapams, Coimbatore market, etc., and from our houses, and the 100 tons every day goes over there. It is put in big cylinders where bio-CNG is then generated. Then this bio-CNG is processed and ultimately put into cylinders. It's a private-public initiative, and that is then the gas which is got in the cylinders is actually cheaper than our LPG gas and sold by that private entrepreneur to the hotels, big hotels and others with whom they have commercial tie-up, and they give us the money for every ton of gas produced. So that way, last year, for example, we were paid about 7 lakh rupees by that company which had started doing. We have one unit that is already successfully running near Ega Theatre in Chetpet. We are producing 5 more such centers. Another one is ready. In fact, we have kick-started its operations. We are waiting for its formal launch from our Honorable CM in Madhavaram, near Kodungiyur. So another 100 ton is ready. It is being there. Another sister unit plant is coming up there itself in Madhavaram. 2 plants are coming up in Coimbatore, behind Coimbatore bus stand. 2 plants are coming up in Sholinganallur. So 2 plus 2 plus 1, 5 are under construction. They are called bio-CNG, using the garbage of the city. This is a sustainable garbage management practice, a good practice actually. So this is how we practice the wet waste. The second is the dry waste. The dry waste consists of plastics. You know, in GCC, we are having a constant drive against the plastics. We do not want people to use plastic carry bags, plastic cups, plastic plates, plastic spoons, etc. We are doing a drive against plastics, but somehow the plastics are still part of our system. So we do get a lot of plastics. So what we have done is we do not want the plastic to be there in our dump yards. So we have actually the garbage that we collect from the households, we push a lot for the plastics to be segregated by our workers. And in the resource recovery centers, all this plastic is separately got, then put in big machines which compact into boxes, like big carton boxes, tightly compacted of plastics. This plastic, we actually send it to lorries every day. to Arialur cement plant to use as a fuel in the pyrolysis process in the furnaces. So that way, this is a permissible Water Pollution Control Board norms. That way, plastic is disposed of without going into our landfills. This is another practice that we are following up. We also recycle the tires, the bottles, and other industry. In fact, every fortnight through the recycling itself, I get about 60 to 70 lakh rupees of income in locally there itself, which we auction it out and give that appropriate that income to the sanitary workers itself as an additionality to their salaries, so that they are also incentivized to collect the garbage separately from the common public. Now, I have told you these are two. But of course, now Greater Chennai Corporation has planned, and we are shortly coming up with a procedure where all the dry garbage will be coming out into 2 or 3 mega recovery facilities, where all the garbage will be offloaded from the trucks into that facility, where the machines, through the artificial intelligence and through the technology, will automatically separate the tires, the plastics, the bottles, and other portions, and put them on separate conveyor belts, which will move, and then after getting segregated, they will be thereafter sent out to the respective recycling industry itself, so that the human intervention is minimized in this regard. We are going to go for a public-private partnership in this regard. And in my opinion, another, our honorable CM and our minister are quite interested in this, and we should be going for this sort of a facility shortly. There is one such facility is there available in Indore, which we had seen recently. So this is how we are actually handling and further going to handle the wet and dry waste. The last point which I would like to highlight is what to do with our existing waste, which is there in our dump yards. You know, in Perungudi, there's legacy dump yard, Perungudi and Kodungur, there's a legacy dump yard where the garbage of last 20, 30, 40 years is available. But we are actually now doing the bio-mining of Perungudi dump yard garbage with 5 big industrial units over there, and we are quite in a good stage of progress. If somebody takes a drone shot, you will see that all that garbage is being converted into. We are picking out all the plastics, tires, sending it out from over there, and only the inert earth which is there, it is separately being compiled, and it's the purview of the private operators over there to sell out that inert earth to the construction industry for filling the low filling areas, etc. We are also utilizing the plastics which is got from over there, which is called basically RDF. Plastic and other material, which they are also sending to the cement industry for usage in the fire industry. So ultimately, our aim is to convert those garbage dumps into level, inert, harmless leveled areas where in future there should be an eco park which should come over there. Similarly, we are going for shortly we are going for bidding of the entire biomining of the entire 330 acre odd dump yard in the Kodungur also. So this is the broad actually action being taken, and Greater Chennai Corporation is in the threshold of major initiatives which are being taken in order to manage the solid waste and basically utilizing the waste in order to usefully use it for the common public, generate income of the common public, and ensure that the yesteryear's practice of dumping the garbage only on the dump yards is avoided, so as to reduce future such incidents of fire, future hazards of pollution, leachate creation, etc. in all these dump yards. So these are all a few thoughts which I thought I should tell, because you are all part of the South Indian industry. You are all very important persons, think tank of the city. So informing you of our plans is important. And next 1 year, you will see a lot of changes in the solid waste management. That's the reason that our garbage vehicles now go with a song to you to give the garbage Namadu Kuppe Nama Purpu, Namadan Kuppe Pirchi Kodukunum, the message and the song. That song also we have pushed, and we are trying to segregate the garbage so that when our industry units, bigger units of bio CNG, MRF facility, material recovery facility, etc., are put up, these are all properly utilized, and we have a successful solid waste management model in the offing for Greater Chennai Corporation. I thank the SICCI for giving me this opportunity for sharing my thoughts with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I think under your leadership, we have seen a huge amount of transformation, and waste is managed really well in Chennai. So I saw some of the participants, in the chat box requested, because a lot of initiatives happened, and you have explained beautifully on, the next direction, what is going to happen in the near future. Is there any document? Because I could see some of the messages coming in. Is there a presentation or document which can be shared, sir? Because, many of the participants are not aware about the new initiatives.
I shall share the document with you. I may not have immediately with me, but I'll share with you on the WhatsApp. Maybe tomorrow you can share it internally with your.
Okay, thank you, sir. I know you are when you have a busy schedule today. I thank on behalf of SICCI. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Saranya, VNS is back with the network?
No, sir. He said, continue the session, sir.
Okay. Done. So let's move on to the next part, which is so what I'm suggesting is that we can move on to the next technical session, and I can also give a kind of an overview. Then Mr. Ramesh can give his comments on his thoughts about this entire subject, which is the innovations in sustainable waste management practices. So we all know today cities are growing at a faster pace. Urbanization is the key. Industrialization is happening. Many cities are growing. I always say that today cities are competing with each other. So what it means is that cities are growing, developments are coming into cities. What it means is that end of the day, there's going to be a huge amount of waste being generated. So now we need to look at what are the major environmental changes associated with this inadequate waste collection, even transport of waste to the dump yards, the treatment and disposal. All of them are changing drastically. Technology is coming in a big way. So how technology will support making this entire waste management a sustainable manner. So today's webinar is going to focus more on innovations in sustainable waste management practices. So we have experts here who would be sharing their thoughts on various waste-related challenges. I mean, we all know, as Commissioner was also highlighting, that various types of waste, liquid waste, dry waste, industrial waste, construction waste. So all of that. So we have experts from each one of these segment, and they would share us with innovations in these kind of waste, and how to reduce waste, reuse, and all of that. So today, it's not only the urban, because we talk more about the urban context and how waste is being managed in urban. Even in rural areas, today there is a huge amount of challenge because of inadequate waste management strategies. So we need to really look at how scientific way of managing waste, especially for India, because still we have a huge amount of population from the rural side. So we need to look at what are the strategies we need to adopt for urban and rural. The urban, while the waste management challenge is huge, rural would also have a different kind of challenge. So technology and innovation may not be appropriate for both urban and rural. So we need to look at what are the different kind of technology adoption we need to follow for both of them. Also, we know when it comes to cities across India, we know major cities like, some of the cities are growing at a much faster manner. Chennai is one among them. We also have NCR, Greater Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Bangalore. Every city has got challenge in waste management. We also know some of the cities been awarded as clean cities. You have a lot of parameters to assess whether city is clean. So obviously waste management plays an important role. So we need to see how, as a group, we need to come out with recommendations as to how we can make Chennai as a cleaner, greener city for the near future. Because, other cities, as I said earlier, competing with each other. I think Hyderabad is cleanest city at this point in time. Of course, there are various agencies who, give this kind of an award based on a lot of parameters. So we need to look at all of them. Some of the interesting topics we would cover today is going to be on liquid waste, solid waste, organic waste, biomedical waste. E-waste is also now is a concern. The waste which has been generated out of construction, basically, Chennai, you have a lot of projects coming in, a lot of redevelopment projects are also coming in. It means that a lot of construction waste, basically during construction, even during demolition. So a lot of the waste is being generated, and the managing them is also very, very important. As I was mentioning today, I mean, many of our participants represent various industries. So industrial waste is also very critical, and many of our members at SICCI adopt zero liquid discharge in their industries, and a lot of innovations also happening in that particular area. So today we may not be covering more on the industrial waste side, but we would be covering on the other aspects of the urban waste. Another one very important we need to consider as a way forward. It is time for us to really wake up and say that, okay, it has to be circular economy. So today, the whole world, the developed nations are following the circular economy mode. And it is very important for us also to adopt. Many industries have adopted because, as Vice President was highlighting in his initial speech on the ESG requirements. So companies are looking at reducing their waste, how effectively they manage, and as a whole, how they are moving towards net zero. So I think it is very important. Traditionally, we've been following take, make, and dispose of kind of a model. So going forward, I think it has to be more from the circular economy standpoint. Globally also, I think waste management is perceived as a business opportunity for the developed countries. I think it is about 2.3 trillion US dollars by 2027 with a CAGR of 5.5%. Growth has been seen in this particular market. So it is all about, this market consists of collection, waste collection, transporting them, disposing them, recycling, monitoring of waste items, and all of that. I think it's a big industry at large. Unfortunately, in India, we have very few players, but in the last 2-3 years, we have seen a lot of private participation in this waste management segment. And going forward, bringing in the sustainable ways of working. For example, today, as Commissioner was mentioning, you have this song in the morning, the waste collection song. So now the electric vehicles being used. So that is again a kind of a bringing in sustainable ways of doing things when transporting the waste. So I think the sustainable initiatives are so important, so that while you make the city green, clean, it should also be greener, so that it makes city more livable. Because today everybody is looking towards a livable city. Cities are growing. In cities, developments are coming in, investments are coming in. One primary important factor is whether the city is cleaner and greener. So for cleaner and greener, it has to be a sustainable waste management practice, which would also improve the quality of living, which would also improve the value of the city. Value of the city in the sense the people would come into that particular city. Investments would come into that particular city. So once investment come in, it means that a lot of employment opportunities. So it's a cycle. So very, very important is while waste management is always perceived as a low priority by many of us, because we are part of city, how are we going to deal with waste management at our house, at our neighborhood, and at our city is very, very important. So today we would be talking more on these. We have excellent experts who would speak on, who would present some videos, who are going to give some insights about each one of them. So I would like to stop here, and I request Mr. Ramesh to give his concluding remarks. Then we would go into the panel discussion along with the technical session. Over to you, Mr. Ramesh.
Thanks, Shankar. Um, Good afternoon to one and all of my committee members, participants. You all heard Mr. Gagandeep Singh ji explaining how they manage the waste in Greater Chennai City, and I'm sure that we will come up with more innovative ideas to provide to them through our conference. As everybody said, waste management is a very, very vast and very important topic for the entire global issues. Waste management is becoming more and more critical, not because of only generation of waste, but also a generation of poisonous waste and generation of non-degrading waste, which are creating a lot of issues. And I am of the belief, as the proverb says, that one man's trash is another man's treasure. For me, it is that innovative, sustainable management practices of waste and converting that waste into further use is controlling the pollution and the environment, which is a treasure for entire living being on this earth. It is not only specific to metropolitan or urban cities or villages. Yes, rural areas, we have a lesser waste to manage, more degradable waste, but in urban cities, we create a lot of non-degradable waste. So how to utilize them, how to make use of those waste in creating either the form of fuel or converting into some needs which we can be used. So as Shankar said, today we have very respected members in the committee who are going to be speaking today and trying to figure out how we can improve our waste management. And it is going to be an ongoing process. It is not something, it's a one-time deal. It is more and more you do, the more and more you're going to get used to it, the more and more. So the more thinking we keep putting into it, the more solutions will keep coming up about managing the entire waste. So now I would pass it on to Mr. Janak to take the panel forward on the discussion and go forward with it. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. Ramesh.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh, and also SICCI for organizing this. And I'm grateful to, in fact, the Commissioner, Chennai Corporation, for having come all the way to give us some idea about what the corporation has been doing. Now, what I intend to do in this session is to give a sort of an overview of what has been happening, because the time is very short, and so I want to give a sort of overview, set the context, so that others can really speak on the more specialized waste management practices. Particularly, I'm looking forward to hear from the gentleman from the Apollo Hospital, and also Natarajan, who has been a sort of a practicing solid waste manager, I would say. So let me just give a sort of an overview. The solid waste management is going to be is one of the most difficult challenges that the humanity is going to confront in the coming decades. And it's very easy for us to say that manage your waste. And we all look forward to Gagan and Gagan idea about the solid waste management, how difficult it is. It's not going to be all that easy, and it's easy for us to criticize also. But none of us are really that responsible. I'm saying the people who use and throw are not that responsible. Therefore, is it fair to put the blame on one gentleman, the commissioner, to manage the waste that we generate in the city? I mean, I want this to be, put on record. It's going to be extremely difficult, because I had a chance to work with him, I had a chance to go around, and I had a chance to really see what's going on. It's extremely difficult. And the extent of generation of solid waste is directly associated also with the growing consumerism and also prosperity of people, as well as technology, which contributes or facilitates newer methods of consumption and consumer products in the market. When I say the newer methods of consumption, I mean your Swiggy and all online consumption. To buy one shirt online or to buy one pair of dress, there are how many wrappers and plastics and ropes, and you have to really throw them all. So the online consumption, the new technologies and consumption has triggered the solid waste management immensely by several folds. And also, for instance, to buy 2 idlis online, there will be 4 plastic cups. It's what a crime, what a criminal waste within quote, I would say. So these are all the adding factors. So therefore, the growing consumerism and prosperity of people and growing technology for consumption, I think these are something that we cannot really set aside. And who are responsible for this? Therefore, the growth, development, and prosperity and profit-driven markets are the directly associated factors which really contributes to the solid waste management, solid waste generation. While at the same time, please also remember, scientific waste management practices is a prerequisite for a sustainable living and sustainable growth and development. No point talking about only growth and development. We need sustainable development. That's what the UN SDG talks about, sustainable development goals. And as UN in the recent times talks about also not sustainability, but also talking about maintainability. No point in saying that my industry is growing at say a certain percentage. Can you maintain at that level? That depends upon how cautious or careful you are in maintaining your ecology and environment. Furthermore, the solid waste management is one of the main reasons attributed to urban floods and inundation. In 2021 flood is characteristically different from the 2015 flood. 2015 flood was more due to the riverine system. It's called fluvial. Whereas the 2021 flood is called a pluvial, that is caused mainly because of the inundation. It is not that the overflow of river which contributed to the flood. So the pluvial flood, or what you call the inundation, was caused mainly because of the clogged urban drains. The clogged urban drains is mainly done because of the solid waste dumped. So the solid waste has also got a extremely important but a negative role in contributing to the urban floods. Let's not forget about that. Indeed, improper and mismanagement of unscientific disposal of municipal solid waste can be disastrous and can lead to very serious health impairment and tragedies. And most importantly, it can lead to also ecological adversity that we need to keep in mind. Now, let's look at the all India level. At the all India level, we are generating 65 million tons every year in India. And as per the latest estimate, 65 million tons. And of which the municipal solid waste constitutes 62 million tons, mostly organic waste, recyclables like a paper, plastic, wood, glass, and so on. Only 75 to 80% of it is generated is collected. The rest is uncollected. So it's not the recycled. I'm talking about what is collected from the total waste that you are generating. So 75 to 80% of the solid waste generated is collected. The rest is uncollected. That is what really contributes to clogged drains and so on. Of the municipal solid waste collected, only 20 to 25% is supposed to be processed and recycled. Only 20 to 21. We don't have the authentic data. This is what the data shows. But then how they process it, how they recycle it, what kind of a resource they recover, nobody knows. But the municipal solid waste generated is projected to increase to 165 million tons. Today, it is 65 million tons, going to become 165 million tons by 2031, and it's going to go up to 450 million tons by 2050. So so we are going to consume more, we are going to discard more, and we are going to occupy more space in dumping. So how are we going to manage? It isn't only to give you a sort of a dimension of the problem. Now, when we say waste generated, what are all the waste? What is the type of the waste? You can't really put everything as a one waste, put them all together. Now, of course, the municipal solid waste is one category where you got household waste, commercial, institutional waste, market and catering waste, waste from wholesale vegetable markets, street sweeping and silt from the drains, horticulture, dairy waste, slaughterhouse waste, and treated biomedical waste and so on. Put them all together as MSW, municipal solid waste. But there are other waste like a household liquid waste, sewage. So what are we doing with the sewage? Are we really recycling? Biomedical waste, electronic waste, industrial solid waste, industrial liquid waste, effluent generation, construction and building demolition waste, plastic waste, hazardous waste. There are waste of all this kind, but then we put them all together as a kind of a solid waste, which is not correct. There are so many waste, and we need to really talk about, deal with them separately, and then only we'll be in a position to talk about the sustainable development. Now, e-waste, I'm particularly more concerned because it's really going to become a very, very serious issue in the days to come. And friends, I must tell you, you won't believe, India is the third largest generator of solid waste next to China and the United States. We are the the largest generator. Very soon, we are going to become the second largest generator of e-waste. And what are we going to do with that? How are you going to deal with it is a very, very big challenge. As per the global e-waste monitor, the published report in 2020, they said a total of 53.6 million metric tons of e-waste is generated globally in 2019. And it is going to go up to something like a 74.7 metric tons by 2030. It's really increasing tremendously. Now, this accounts for something like 7.3 kilograms per capita. Can you imagine? We are generating 7.3 kilograms of e-waste every year. Now, how are you going to really deal with it? How are you going to manage it? Is really a serious issue. Now, let's come to Chennai. Municipal solid waste in Chennai is now a big issue. Population is 8.5 million, and the solid waste generation is 5,600 million tons every day. 5,600 million metric tons. 5,600 metric tons every day. It used to be 2,000 metric tons every day by 1990. Now it's more than doubled. Now, similarly, sewage generation, biomedical and e-waste generation have also gone up tremendously in the last 3 decades. Now, what are we doing with that? We basically put them all in the landfills. Of what Gagan was talking about, the landfills in Chennai is much smaller compared to what you see in Delhi. I agree. But these are becoming a legacy waste and contributing to a serious ecological environmental problem. There are 2 designated landfills in Chennai. One is Kodungur, other one is in Perungudi. And in the recent days, you've seen that the lake water near the Perungudi dump site turned pinkish color. That's because of the sort of a leach that really spread, bacteria spread from the legacy waste and spread to the water body, and which lasted for months. Now, in addition to these 2 sites, dump site, there are also many other unknown, undesignated dump sites. I also see the piles of the waste generated and dumped. Now, what is the problem? Let that remain. But the problem is that the area around that is really getting very badly damaged due to the groundwater pollution, and also because of the mosquito generation, creating lots of health problems. Now, our biggest worry right now is the Pallikene marshland, where the dump site is now something like a 270 or 280 acres, now completely occupied, and that now, as Commissioner was saying, they're trying to do some kind of a biomining and do some kind of a remediation measures. And I don't know for how long it is going to take, how it is going to be very helpful, and how we are going to really, even the dumps, the legacy waste that they're doing and entering to biomining, the plastics that got dumped there have already gotten into the soil with the microplastics in soil. So you can't really use that as a biomanure. because the microplastics are also, in a large measure, in that waste. So therefore, it's really becoming a very big issue to how to deal with that, even the bio-made material. I was talking to the commissioner the other day. Please don't ever dump that in the agricultural field, because lots of microplastic is in it. But these dump sites are originally lying in the outskirts of the city, but now these dump sites have become very much part of the city, which means we have to really deal with it very carefully. Now, what can we do? What are the issues? This is where I think the people like Natarajan, who is here, can really contribute to. So what is the kind of a resource recovery we can do? And how can we really deal with what is called the circular economy? What is a circular economy? And what is the kind of a value that we can add? One is, of course, CNG, and the menu. Are there any other possibility? Can we recover some kind of a raw materials from the solid waste? In Chennai, hardly 10% of the solid waste generated is put through the process of resource recovery. Only 10%. The rest really is dumped. The efforts undertaken by the GCC in instituting and composting units should be really expanded, should be decentralized. And that is something very important. I think that's something which we need to applaud. Many other cities, they don't even think about it. Chennai is exceptional. We are far, far better compared to other cities. I think that way, I think we should congratulate the commissioner. The urgent need of the hour is an attitudinal change of the people. This is something I would like to insist. No point in putting the pressure on one person. How, in what way the people's attitude can change? They are increasingly mindlessly contributing to consumption, contributing to waste generation, but then they don't care. Build on community awareness program on the principle of reduce, reuse, and recycle is extremely necessary. Awareness creation of the general public is extremely critical in this regard. People, more so the middle and upper middle class population, who the capacity for higher levels of consumption, should reduce the consumption level and try and recycle the waste generated within their premises. It should be made mandatory for all households, gated communities situated in big flat complexes that they should really recycle the waste generated, and they should own the waste they generate. We are talking about always the 5 R's. What are the 5 R's? Reduction, reuse, recycling, and recovery. I would like to add one more R, which is refuse. You have to refuse. Why do you want to really keep consuming mindlessly? You have to refuse and try to adopt what is called the minimalist approach, minimalist living standard. Time has come for us not really throw money and consume what you like. You really have to approach what is called follow approach in life called minimalist life. At that stage, in this stage, all that I can say is be more responsible buyer, and be a responsible buyer, and be a responsible consumer. I would like to conclude with a warning: use less and throw less, as otherwise the planet Earth will throw us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Janak, for your valuable inputs. Now I request Mr. Shankar, Chair, SICCI Infrastructure Committee, to take out the session. I request you to take it forward, sir, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Janak, for your valuable inputs. I think you've been of great support for this committee. And this time also, you contributed a lot. So I wanted to give some kind of an introduction about you to the forum. But you're so passionate, and you went on with your thoughts. So for the participants, Dr. S. Janakarajan, he's the president of SICCI Waters, and he's been closely associated with many government bodies in recommending the various initiatives or various innovative things which government should do. And he's been on the advisory board of many committees with the government. So I thought, and I will share that with all of you. So now we'll move on. The first, I think, as I mentioned earlier, we have excellent speakers here. Each one is going to contribute here with the innovations which they've already done and some recommendations for future. And end of the day, we are going to collate all of them, and we are going to submit with the corporation, and the commissioner is going to have a deeper look into it. And I'm sure the recommendations which are going to come out of this will be useful for the entire Chennai as a whole. First, I would request Mr. Siddharth Hande, the CEO of Kabadiwala Connect, to share his thoughts. Mr. Siddharth, are you there? Hey, Siddharth. Yes. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, yes. We can hear you. So over to you, Siddharth. Siddharth, I think it is about innovations. It is about bringing in the next gen perspectives in the waste management. So I thought, I would invite you first to share your thoughts. And if you have any presentation, you're free to share the presentation as well. Siddharth, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. So I think that given the nature of the discussion, I won't show slides, but I do have a slide deck, and I will share that with SICCI, which can then be shared with everyone. So just a quick background. So I'm a data scientist by training. So I worked in, I have a master's in environmental science from Australia, where I did a lot of work on GIS and remote sensing. I worked in the development sector for a number of years, for about 8 years actually, and my role, in these organizations were more and more to support policymakers and researchers by collecting data on the ground. So I work for the Indo-German Center for, IGCS it's called, in IIT Madras. I worked with the Indian Institute for Human Settlements, IISC. And in all these situations, my goal was to collect different kinds of data set on the ground with different techniques that supported specific types of policy and research. Some work in waste management for me that was very foundational was when I was in college, I did my undergrad in Loyola. We used to organize beach cleanups. I was one of the founders of a youth group in Chennai called Reclaim Our Beaches. And the idea was, we were quite shocked to see the amount of different kinds of material, a lot of it plastics, come up from the ocean to our, Besnagar Beach and the estuary and things like that. So Reclaim Our Beaches was born to kind of go and collect that, do a cleanup, but also then inquire why is that material there? And, for us, it was a fascinating kind of experience, a learning experience where we realized that even if you're doing all these cleanups, that material is ultimately going to Palikarna and Kudungure, which are these marshlands, And so this question of how do you do something more, I was very interested in the waste pickers who were coming in and picking up certain kinds of material. So that was my first kind of intervention into waste. I also did some very interesting mapping work on waste management, material flows in Hyderabad, along with Hyderabad Urban Lab. And so I actually I run a company now called Kabadiwala Connect, and we essentially work towards integrating the informal supply chain into the formal system. My starting point was actually winning some grants to map every single informal aggregator in Chennai. So my idea was, when I was looking at the academic literature, that when people spoke about the informal waste ecosystem, there's a lot of focus on the waste picker, but there was not really a material flow analysis, or looking at what is the how much volume and what price and what kind of in what kind of way is it being collected and sent across the supply chain. So I was really looking to do these kind of quantitative material analysis of Chennai. And so we devised a methodology with these grants that we won. So the first grant was from the World Economic Forum. We won some follow-on financing from the World Bank, actually, and this was in 2016, where we actually completed walking every street in Chennai, and every scrap shop we found, we mapped and we ran surveys. What material are you buying? What price? Where are you selling it to? And we essentially uncovered this phenomenal supply chain of what we call level 0, level 1, and level 2 aggregators. So level 0 aggregators are your waste pickers, walk the streets, picking up, scavenging for material, picking it up at no input cost. Sometimes they have a tricycle. They drive around and pick up material in a larger radius. They sell to what we call a level 1 aggregator, your Kabadiwala, your Pariya paper car, and these are the guys who are material agnostic, and they're actually set up within the city. So their primary goal is to get feedstock from waste pickers, but also residents and commercial establishments in the city. So they're really set up in places where they expect waste generation to happen and a lot of recyclable waste to be generated. Then we found 2,000 of these guys in Chennai, just FYI. So it was a census. And if you look at the map, it's actually, that map could look like the number of ATMs that Chennai has, a number of barber shops that Chennai has. It's really every ward, every neighborhood is well serviced by these scrap aggregators who are currently buying recyclables from waste pickers, but also from local residents and local businesses. Then we found more clustered, what we call level 2 aggregators, who are more like your informal material recovery facilities. So these are guys doing a very important pre-processing activity, like a baling or shredding or something that's critical for, the final off-taker to collect that material. So we found about close to 300 of them in different clusters in the city. Madhavaram was a big cluster of plastic. In fact, we set up like a material recovery facility ourselves and ran it for a couple of years in Madhavaram, where we bought and sold about 500 tons of PET. And we learned more about, how you procure from the informal supply chain and things like that. So for us, Kabadiwala Connect, we're not a collection company, we're not a processing company, but rather we want to be an ecosystem integrator using technology of this informal infrastructure that cities in the global south have. Not just India, we've now gone to Indonesia, we've done some work in the Ivory Coast. More and more, our work is becoming more and more commercial, where we see a lot of big off-takers who have to make big investment decisions into processing plants, needing a lot of our products because they realize that they have to procure and actually compete for the informal aggregators volume. And so that's kind of where we are. I really feel that since we started to now, plastics has really taken center stage. In fact, there's a lot of movement on folks trying to figure out how to create a procurement system for low value plastic. So when you look at PET, for example, PET is actually really well recovered. There are a lot of issues in the compliance elements of how that is collected, especially around waste pickers, scavenging for that material. But quantum wise, ward by ward, you can actually see amount generated versus how much the informal sector collected is almost like at 100%. There's so much collection of PET happening. And now really for PP and PE, like your shampoos and your, all of that kind of stuff, as well as for low value plastic, MLP, there are a lot of brands, there are a lot of big companies really interested in how do you ramp up volumes of that material and collect it. So I'll stop by saying, we're doing some very interesting, maybe some of the interesting projects that we're doing. One of the big things for us is we're part of this, we're being incubated by Shell, the oil and gas company, as part of their Shell Game Changer program, where we're really looking at this low value plastics piece. They are, really looking to invest, the Shell has made a commitment of like recycling 1 million tons of plastic annually by 2025. And they've just invested in this kind of pyrolysis, not even pyrolysis, like gasification technology, this Netherlands-based gasification technology that they want to bring into different markets. So there's really a lot of private sector engagement. Another interesting thing that we're doing is actually with Saint-Gobain on the flat glass side of things, like how the Saint-Gobain is becoming like obsessing over now. How do we get more, post-consumer secondary raw material into our plants? And so connecting the dots is like a huge thing. And our value here is really being able to go map informal supply chains, build a value proposition for them, we do a lot of work around traceability and digitalization, but also we are ready to offer procurement guarantees and such, like those kinds of things to big off-takers. So it's a very interesting space. We're still a small company, a startup, 15 people. I have 2 other co-founders, but it's something that for me, I'm very excited about because, it really, there's a social element to it. One of the things that we want to do is enumerate the supply chain and then integrate them holistically. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. I think my big recommendation through SICCI to the corporation would be to really find ways to work with the informal supply chain rather than create incentives that create competing environments between the formal collection system and this informal supply chain. Really, this supply chain, they are like our invisible recyclers, and we need really enabling policy to really, take advantage of that infrastructure that they provide us. The final thing I would also point out to waste generators is find your local kabadiwala, segregate your recyclables at home, and at the very least today, you can ensure that that recyclable fraction is being recycled through the supply chain that we have. And so that is something that we can also, I think, tell a lot of people. It's like, do you know your local kabadiwala? Do you know your local scrap shop, right? And create these campaigns where we get all the recyclables to them so that they can also make more money. Thank you. I'll stop there.
Hey, thanks a lot, Siddharth. So it clearly shows your passion towards the waste management and how technology platform can enable better waste management, especially the informal segment. Excellent. So now we will move on. We'll have the questions and other discussions later, Siddharth.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, let's move on. So now I welcome Mr. Vidya Amarnath from Patterson Energy Private Limited.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Mr. Shankar. This is Amarnath.
Yes. Yeah.
Vidya is my wife.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Vidya is my wife and also a co-founder of our company. So now I wanted to talk to you about converting plastic waste into oil. This was something which the idea came to us about 10 years ago. We are not from this background at all, or any background of chemical engineering or anything. I run a wealth management company. But the thing was that we found that there was plastic waste and generally all waste thrown all over the place. And we thought we should look at finding some solutions to solving a small part of this problem. So we focused on plastics. And while doing some research on that, we found, like Siddharth had said, that there is a pretty good collection mechanism for PET waste, the PET bottle collections. But the rest of the waste, keeps getting goes to the landfill. I mean, first gets dumped into the local dump bin. And much of that waste is really not being processed at all. The main reason is because plastic is very light material, and even the kabadiwalas don't like to pick up, the light plastic, MLP waste, etc., because it's of huge volume but not much of weight. So they don't really get much value out of picking this waste. The second thing is that much of this plastic is of different kinds of material. Some are PP, some are PE, some are HDPE. It's all different kinds of waste. And this, and since it is not homogeneous, it cannot be processed by making them into pellets and things like that, because for that you need a homogeneous material. So we were wondering what you could do with this, all this mixed waste, which is lying around and nobody wants to touch it, kind of a thing. So then there we discovered that there was some process called pyrolysis or depolymerization. So we started reading more about that, and then we actually fabricated a small machine and was doing some R&D on this pyrolysis process, basically. So we also worked partly with SIPET and then with IIT Madras also, and we got to some stage of creating a prototype of making such a machine which could process any kind of mixed plastic waste. You could actually put in everything in it other than a PET and convert it into oil variant. Basically, it is a very good quality of diesel which we are able to produce today. So, this, while we were doing this project, we suddenly got a call from the government of India, actually somebody from Engineers India Limited in Delhi, who said that we are looking at this pyrolysis project and we think it's a great idea. Why don't you come and talk to us on what you plan to do? So we said, so we met them, and they were quite impressed with the kind of work which we had done in our prototype here. And so they said that the government has got a plan to put up a lot of pyrolysis plants in different parts of the country. And they gave us an option to work on the first such project under the Swachh Bharat scheme, where we were expected to put up a processing plant to process 6 tons of plastic waste a day. So it was quite an interesting and exciting project, because at that time, basically, we did not even have a company. It was just our personal funds which we were investing in doing the R&D. So they asked us to form a company. We formed the company, and then it is a tripartite kind of an arrangement where the Mathura, they had identified the place as Mathura to put up this plant. And the Mathura municipality leased out 1.5 acres of land to us. EAL gave us a grant, basically, a part capital subsidy, and we were expected to put up the plant and run the plant for 20 to 25 years. So we started off the project, and the designs were ready, everything was ready, but unfortunately we lost a couple of years due to COVID, and we were not able to complete the plant or to run it. But now after COVID, in the last 6 to 8 months, we have started the plant, and it's functioning very well in Mathura. So but there are a few challenges in this whole thing. One is that this being a continuous plant, we need about 2 to 3 tons of plastic every day, and because we can't stop the production, because restarting the plant consumes a lot of energy. So one is to identify good material, waste material to run the plant. We need about 3 tons every day. Collecting 3 tons every day is a challenge, actually. Though everybody talks of so much of plastic waste all over the place, to actually get decent material of 3 tons every day is proving to be a fair bit of a challenge. The second thing is, on the technology itself, there is, it is still work in progress anywhere in the world, because what you're doing is you're treating different kinds of plastic waste, which when they depolymerize, that is basically you heat up this entire plastic waste in a reactor with the absence of oxygen. So each different type of plastic waste decomposes at a different temperature. Different chemicals get released. So there are a lot of technological challenges which are being addressed. And the third thing is the marketing of the oil which comes out. We produce about 50% of the plastic you put in comes out as oil, which is a very high grade of actually oil close to diesel. But to convince people to run their generators on diesel, on this oil, replacing diesel and all that is, you have to establish a certain marketing for that. But today it is interesting because companies like Indian Oil are willing to take the entire output that we produce at our Mathura facility. So coming to Chennai, we also we have this prototype plant, but we are not running this facility now because we don't have the management bandwidth to be running in 2 centers. But we also put up a processing facility where we pelletize plastic waste plastics, basically. So that is just started and it is going on. That is a fairly simpler process, and we hope to to increase the capacity soon on that. So this is basically what we do. This is the technology which we use, and I feel that it is a good solution to put up such plants, maybe small plants in different cities or in different zones by the corporation itself. It is one of the good ways of solving the plastic problem, because you're converting these plastic wastes into a valuable resource, basically. And also it is a way of treating mixed wastes, basically, and you don't need to go into huge sorting facilities to treat this waste. So that's basically what we do.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Amarnath.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think how effectively we use waste is so key, and waste to oil is an excellent process. Definitely, this will bring huge amount of reduction in our in the impact of the waste which has been on the environment, on the cities, and all of that. Okay, thanks. So I request you to stay back so that in case if are any questions, we would share. And also I request you to share the presentation which which you highlighted earlier with the group, so that we could know more about what you guys do.
Sure,
Thank you. Yes. Next, we will move on. Mr. Vardhaman, have you joined? I can't see. Hey, great.
Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Shankar. Yeah.
Hi. Vardhaman is the director of Paperman. So please share your thoughts on the financing, solid waste management, the complete ecosystem, and how the innovations can add value to this entire supply chain. Over to you, Vardhaman.
Sure. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vardhaman. I run a company called Paperman Environmental Solutions Private Limited. We're largely focused on dry waste and plastics, especially. So we are a waste management agency, and we've handled around 100,000 tons of plastic waste in the last 4 years since our for-profit inception. We work with around 86 municipalities across South India, right from Andamans, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, and Pondicherry. In fact, we are the largest plastic waste management agencies in Tamil Nadu and Andamans. And apart from these municipalities, we also work with around 50 aggregators across South India, but primarily again in Tamil Nadu. So this we drive this work through a policy innovation called extended producer responsibility, under which basically it's a mandate under the Environment Protection Act, where any company using plastic in their packaging is made responsible to handle the end to life of the product, right? Like say, for example, a company X produces shampoo, packs it into a sachet, sells it into market, right? Traditionally, their responsibility would end till the time the consumer gets a good quality product, right? But under this EPR framework, which was launched in 2016, and it's picked up pace rapidly in the last 1.5 years, this company is also made responsible to manage the end to life of its packaging. This is a service we provide to a lot of leading brands in the country, right from your Unilevers, ITC, Britannia, Kevin Care, and all of them. And the second part of our work line is something what Mr. Gagandeep Singh had mentioned around biomining. So we handle legacy waste of around 5 towns in the state of Tamil Nadu. Yeah, briefly, this is about us, and yeah, I'm happy to take questions around this policy innovation called extended producer responsibility. So there is this entire framework is not just for plastic waste. There's also a framework for e-waste. What was a very big concern pointed out by Mr. Janak Rajan. There is a policy around battery waste. There's a policy on tire waste. There's a policy coming up very soon on textiles and vehicles. So yeah, I feel this is a very big policy innovation what the government of India has taken up to solve the urban waste management issues in our country. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a presentation, but then it goes a lot more into detail of the technical aspects of this policy. Maybe I'll circulate it through SICCI to the larger audience.
Yeah, that'll be great, Vardhaman. So, because policy related initiatives are very, very important, because we need to look at the strategies and the action plans by Government of India, and how the cities are adopting, whether it is in line with the the Government of India's vision of managing solid waste. Is very, very critical. And what is your sense on the implementation which is happening at the state levels? Because I mean, we are talking about Tamil Nadu, and with the leadership of Mr. Gagandeep Singh, a lot of initiatives. We heard him speak about the newer initiatives and how innovative solutions are being looked at. So, what is your opinion on this? Because you have done a lot of work in this field, Vardhaman.
Right. See, from an implementation perspective, last 1.5 2 years is there's been a very large focus on this policy. To give you a high level overview, India generates around 3.5 million tons of plastic packaging waste a year, and as of date, we have commitments from around 1,500 companies, which can be your companies like say Dabur, Britannia, Pepsi, all of them. to collect and manage 1.9 tons of plastic waste responsibly, right? So I would say it's over. It's a very big commitment which has come from the industry in a very short period. This is like the stat for the country. In Tamil Nadu, specifically after this Meedum Manjapai campaign, which was in fact a large part of the campaign when it was launched last year, there has been a very big focus by the Tamil Nadu government on appropriately handling plastic waste. In fact, TNGCC, Tamil Nadu Green Climate Company, was also recently launched to basically manage climate action in the state, and plastic waste management and solid waste management is a very large part of it. So in terms of what's happening in Tamil Nadu, across all the states what we work, which is primarily in South India, we feel Tamil Nadu is leading the way in terms of waste management. The kind of volumes what you get in Tamil Nadu, it's not very easy to source in other states. Mr. Amarnath, he was mentioning that, getting the feedstock for his plant is a challenge in the Mathura belt. But I would say Tamil Nadu is way ahead. In fact, we are the largest consumers of RDF, what Mr. Gagandeep Singh had mentioned, right? The compacted portion of the dry waste, which is combustible, but not commercially or technically recyclable. That's usually termed as RDF. And like how you have ethanol blending with petrol, there is a mandate by the Pollution Control Board to all the companies using coal in their process, usually wherever coal is burnt over 1000 degrees Celsius, to blend RDF, agro waste, and other kinds of combustible waste into their fuel needs, right? So currently Tamil Nadu is working at so this is called a TSR percentage, thermal substitution ratio. It is different for every different plant, but on an average, in my experience, roughly we are working at a TSR of around 17%. Also, to give you a statistics, Tamil Nadu generates around 4.3 million tons of RDF every year. There's not just plastic, I'm saying other combustible fractions as well, be it your waste shoes, your tires, your bags, your cloth, everything coming together. Out of 4.3 lakh tons from the municipalities, and we already have an installed capacity of around 3 lakh tons in the state. So I would say Tamil Nadu is definitely leading the way, and along with Maharashtra maybe. So these two states are in the front, this thing of handling the entire waste management problem what we face as a community. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Vardhaman. So good to know that, according to your assessment, Tamil Nadu leads it, followed by Maharashtra. So it is also important, probably, if some of the solutions which has been provided in Maharashtra and other states could also be shared as part of our recommendations later.
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Vardhaman. I'll come back to you in case of any questions around this topic. Let's move on to the next speaker, Dr. Sudha Mohan. She is from Apollo Hospitals. She would share her thoughts, and she has done in-depth study on biomedical waste. And she also told me the other day that she might also share a video with us. Dr. Sudha Mohan, are you around?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Yes. Over to you, Dr. Sudha.
Sir, but I feel thanks for calling me as a doctor, but basically I'm not a doctor. I did my MBA in hospital administration, and I'm working with Apollo for the past 17 years.
Wow.
I'm looking into the Greens Road operations. Now I became for Pan-India consultant for looking into the housekeeping operations. So thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. This is the first time I'm facing such outside conferences other than Apollo. So thank you so much for the consideration what you have on with Apollo Hospitals. So here I would like to just share some few steps what we at Apollo are following so that the biomedical waste management is at place. And we also have been appreciated by the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board for having the practices 100% fulfilling the standards. So I'll just share some of the things. And as you all know, now the biggest agenda of the post-COVID, I think I have to mention about post-COVID, the awareness of biomedical waste management has increased a lot when compared to the previous years. So thanks for COVID for that. And even all the hospitals and healthcare industries are also taking stringent rules and regulations for handling the biomedical waste management in their own property. So as management of biomedical waste has become a very serious health problem in developing countries. And we all know that generally in developed countries, we see around 1 to 5 kgs of biomedical waste generated per bed per day. And in developing countries like us, we were generating around 1 to 2 kgs of biomedical waste per day. But after post-COVID, the amount of disposable items increased a lot. And now it has been even coming to 3 to 3.5 kgs of biomedical waste generated per bed per day. So now BMW is getting more attention how to handle this much of quantity of biomedical waste generated in the city. And as you all know, the biomedical waste rules 1998 were very stringent and we are all following it. But so many new procedures have been introduced. So many disposables are there, which is becoming a very big threat for us to handle the biomedical waste. And because of the large amount of biomedical waste handling, and there is no proper education training of biomedical waste to the co-workers, because mostly the biomedical waste is handled in the low profile job. Though we have very good systems and protocols and processes among the Apex committee, it is mainly followed by the lower level staff. So that is the biggest challenge for handling the biomedical waste. See, generally a problem can happen due to 3 reasons. One is product, people, and process. Product we can introduce as per the standards. Process, by taking the inputs of all the government norms, anything, we can implement the process. But the biggest problem is with the people who are there to handle the biomedical waste in a hospital. So that is the biggest challenging and becoming a very big threat for the biomedical waste, how to be handled properly. So what we have done is we have done a failure mode effect analysis. I think in India, we were the first hospital to do an failure mode effect analysis qualitative initiative program at Apollo hospitals. This mainly we did before the pandemic COVID started, because there was a very big threat how the COVID waste has to be handled. And that is what the outcome was. Product and processes can be easily implemented, but the people who are working under biomedical, who are there to work along with biomedical, is the biggest challenge. So continuous training, evaluation, and site studies, all these things were very much needed of the hours so that we can improve effective biomedical waste management. I have a very beautiful video which I have captured for this conference, so that you can see the overall view how the biomedical waste setup is at Apollo hospitals we do follow. But that video covers around 15 to 18 minutes. So I don't know whether we will be able to run the video now or we can just cut short and show you the thing. But here I want to highlight few important points is, see, the amount of biomedical waste which is generated in a hospital is not, everything is infectious. As per the WHO report, 80% of the waste which is generated in the hospital belongs to non-hazardous waste category, whereas 10% of the waste which is generated is infective, and 5% is non-infective but highly hazardous. It is like radioactive isotopes, cytotoxic waste, all these things. But a overall handling of the entire biomedical waste system is very much needed to ensure that all the waste which is generated inside the hospital is not becoming highly hazardous. And need for the biomedical waste management in a hospital is why we need a very good biomedical waste management system in healthcare setup is because we are seeing lot of needle stick injuries which the biomedical waste handlers are getting. And treating one person with a needle stick injury, we are spending amount of 3,000 rupees per day to get him vaccinated, to do a titer test and all. And moreover, the amount of mental stability where the staff who has been injured with a needle stick injury and the family is very, very, I think it's very big, it's a very big problem because the staff are not being very comfortable to work in the biomedical waste management area because no proper segregation which happens. And because of that, the low level people are getting injuries, mainly the needle stick injuries of due to wrong segregation, which is done at the source. Mainly regarding the biomedical waste, everyone thinks biomedical waste is a housekeeping job, that only housekeepers will be doing the biomedical waste management. But I feel the biomedical waste management should start, handling should start from the source. It is done by the doctor, nurses, and the paramedical staff, where they have to segregate the biomedical waste as per the norms in the color-coded dustbins, which are placed in the dustbins, which are neatly labeled so that they can generate, which is generated can be segregated. There, the role of housekeeping is nothing, and housekeeping will not re-segregate the biomedical waste, which is already segregated. But the problem here is segregation of biomedical waste is not as per the norms. And as per the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, we are having 4 categories of biomedical waste. One is your infectious waste, one is your clinical plastic waste, your short waste, and your bottle waste. But if the waste is being properly segregated as per the standards, I think it will be a very good startup so that the biomedical waste can be handled properly. After the waste getting segregated at the source, then only the waste will be transported to the common storage area. From there, the common storage area, it goes to the common biomedical waste treatment facility, to the approved treatment facility for later disposal. But the mistakes what happened in the step 5 manner is the segregation is not proper, they are not being transported. And now the biggest problem is, I found that most of the healthcare facilities are not using appropriate liners. The quality of the liners which are being used for collecting the biomedical waste is also a very big problem. So we have to ensure that appropriate good quality type of biomedical waste liners to be used. And the next problem again what I found here is hospital acquired infections due to no proper biomedical waste segregation, where the patient can develop an hospital acquired infection other than his primary infections what he has already been admitted for. So one of the reasons for even spreading of infection may be also due to the wrong handling of the biomedical waste management, and the risk of infections outside hospital waste handlers and scavengers, because they transport the biomedical waste, they load the vehicle and all, where there is a lot of risk associated with them, and even risk associated with hazardous chemical drugs, and to all the persons who are handling at the different levels, and disposal and drugs being repacked and resold if they are not being treated, because we find a lot of rat pickers collecting the waste. And after post-COVID, everyone has started using, from COVID, everyone started using masks. But in the public, we have seen a lot of masks and gloves disposed like everywhere. But again, that is being again cleared by the rat pickers, and their chances of the mask and gloves can be reused or resold. So, and because if the waste management is not handled properly, I think air, water, and soil can be polluted. So I feel that the biomedical waste management has to be happened in a very good manner, so that everyone will be at safe. And mostly the challenges what we faced in hospital environment is, in the present scenario, only few facilities, common biomedical waste treatment facilities are there to treat the amount of biomedical waste generated. So I think if we can increase the amount of biomedical waste treatment facilities, can help us a lot. And we are only following the technologies of autoclaving, incineration, shredding, storing in cement pits or sharp containers in the cement pits. I think new technologies can be also looked into for treating the biomedical waste, because it is the need of the hour. And the central biomedical waste treatment facilities are to be established under public-private partnership mode, so that awareness can be increased a lot. One more thing here I want to show, I want to tell here is, as you all know, there are 6 steps which are involved in handling a biomedical waste. One is, as already we discussed, it is segregation of biomedical waste at source. Second is transportation of biomedical waste from the source to the common storage area through appropriate trolleys and containers, and then storing of the segregated waste at the common storage area, and how it is being stored, because there are so much of risk associated there, because we find lot of insects, flies, rodents, which are being a very big threat for us. And growth of flies, rodent, worms, and insects, along with the unpleasant smell, can also cause injuries to the waste handlers. So I think the storage of the biomedical waste compartments has to be designed in such a way that they are exhaust facility or a vent facility where the pollution, air pollution, can be addressed. But in most of the, even in the setup for the hospitals, I have found that the waste common storage areas for storing the biomedical, because we are talking on lot of fancy words of biomedical waste, but we are not providing that much of facilities for the healthcare workers to store the biomedical waste. And in many hospitals, I even found open compartments have been used for storing the biomedical waste, where rat pickers can even collect the waste from their area. So I always feel that the area which is being there to store the biomedical waste has to be an locked and key provision, and it should be a closed compartment that no one will be authorized to enter that particular area. So not only taking care of the norms and protocols at the source, I also feel that the waste which is being stored, because government has given us 48 hours of time to store the biomedical waste inside the hospital. Within 48 hours, the waste has to be transported to the for the treatment. But the 48 hours of holding the biomedical waste can overcome so much of illegal practices, where it can be resegregated or it can be like that. But I think now, after post-COVID, the norms are very stringent that we are using. Pollution Control Board has helped us to use only barcoded biomedical waste covers. Approved biomedical waste covers has been used, and even any cover which is being found anywhere in the city can be scanned to find out which hospital has dumped the waste there. I think it's one of a very good initiative where Pollution Control Board has brought in that even from Apollo, we have around 38 Apollos, where we can know which Apollo's cover is lying here. So that is also one of the new initiatives which we are following. And the major problem is with the training of the biomedical waste handlers, a lack of awareness of knowledge regarding who are handling the biomedical waste is a very important thing, where we should train them, and we have to have a lot of inspection mechanism to ensure that the people are being trained. And approval waste liners has to be followed for collecting the biomedical waste in all the responsible areas, and proper care to be provided, to be ensured for segregating of the biomedical waste at all the sources. And faulty maintenance of the waste also can lead to a lot of pollution. And ensuring that the rat pickers, who are one way they are helping us to clear the waste from our areas, but they should not have any access to handle the biomedical waste or to the biomedical waste area. So I request that all the hospitals should have a stringent mechanism of operating the biomedical storage compartments, so that no unauthorized entries can be followed. So these are some of the initiatives which we have taken from Apollo's side, right from your segregation, right from your transportation, collection, and until the common facilitator collects the biomedical waste from our source, gets it treated, and provides us an report telling that the biomedical waste which is collected from the hospital has been treated as per the norms. And one more good initiative what we do is, every hospital has been authorized to generate a minimum quantity of biomedical waste so that proper segregation happens. So, and every day we are entering the biomedical waste generated into our on-site web, so that there is no disparities of figures which is being submitted to Pollution Control Board and maintained by us is the same. So anyone can check how much of biomedical waste is generated hospital wide, and we are doing frequent audits and frequent measures to how to bring down the quantity of biomedical waste generated without disturbing the qualitative procedures. I think in Apollo we have done a Six Sigma project on how to handle the biomedical waste, and we have trained all our housekeepers to do some initiatives, to follow the initiatives what has been taught to them so that the waste is segregated within the approved limit and the waste has been cleared from the source without nothing. So we do biomedical waste is always at place. So if we have time, I have shared an video. I have captured a video about the best practices, what we are following at Apollo hospitals to Saranya. I think that video can be shared to everyone. It is an informative, educative video where everyone can, if it is useful, they can even use that video for training their employees at their source if it is useful. So thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And if anything is any doubts on that, I can be able to share.
Thanks, Ms. Sudha. That was excellent. The initiatives at Apollo hospitals.
Thank you so
Apollo
much.
Hospital definitely is a pioneering in their own field, but the waste management, biomedical waste management is also managed really well. The video which you mentioned, definitely we are going to play it. So what we will do is at the end of this particular session, we'll start the video. And since
Yes.
you're saying that it'll go at 18-20 minutes, let it, we'll move that towards the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms.
Thank you, sir.
Now let's move on. This is very, very important topic. I invite Mr. Nadarajan, CEO of Nammavuru Foundation. This particular foundation represented by the NGO. So it's an NGO and it's been doing a lot of interesting work, which is very, very commendable. And Mr. Nadarajan will share his thoughts as well as recently, I think they've got an award also. Over to you, Mr. Nadarajan. Please share your thoughts and how you work in this particular ecosystem. I know all the passionate individuals come together and form this Nammavuru Foundation. So very interesting. I like participants to ask question. I can see some of the questions coming in. At the end of the Mr. Nadarajan is the last speaker. So very interesting topic. And have some questions around all the topics here, and you can message me. And immediately after this presentation, we'll move on with the Q&A. Over to you, Mr. Nadarajan.
Thank you, Mr. Shankar, Dr. Janakarajan, Mr. Shankar, Mr. Ramesh, and other committee members of SICCI, and also the other participants in the session. Very good afternoon to one all. And is everyone able to see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. So before we start, I think last 2 hours we've been keep on listening, and let us have some activity. I'm going to throw a quiz right now, and you all going to answer in the chat. How many types of waste are there? That's a question. And I will answer the question only at the end. I would request everyone to post how many types of waste are there. Okay. How many types of waste are there? Okay. Fantastic. 8, 5. Why I am seeing only 4 or 5 participants? Come on, everybody. There are 100+ people. 8, 4, 5. Even if you don't know the answer, just to pick some number. Or whatever our commissioner said, you can also give that number. Please, everybody. Okay, 6, 4, 8. Come on. SICCI members, please. 4. Okay. Mr. Shankar, I don't see your response. I want you also to participate, please.
I was the first one to respond. 6.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, sir. Sorry, I missed you. Okay, Vinu said 5, 4, 4, 6. Okay. Okay, there is, okay, great. Glad. 10, super. Fantastic. Double digit. Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, so glad to see some, participation. All right. So quickly, a quick introduction about myself and our organization. I'm Natarajan, founder of Nammavuru Foundation, and we are a not-for-profit working in the field of environment, predominantly in the solid waste management. And as Mr. Shankar rightly said, we are passionate individuals running this organization for the past 8 years. And in our 8 years of operations, every day we are diverting 5 tons of organic waste from going to dump yard. That means that many tons are being composted every day. And about 5,000+ tons has been managed by ourselves in the past 8 years. So that's the credentials for us. And We're also one of the empaneled member or empaneled organization to give advocacy in solid waste management in Chennai City. Okay, so in today's session, I'm going to talk about these 5 topics. Composting, the exacting science. I want you to underline this word, composting, the exacting science. And also I'm going to talk about community composting, bulk waste composting, and innovation in bulk waste composting, and what is the way forward. Okay. And please, all of you, I want you to pay some attention, because this is a very, very, very serious topic, and we are doing this for our next generation and the generations to come. In Tamil, if I have to say, innum pirakkada thalaimuraikkaga vela senjittu. I underscore that line, innum pirakkada thalaimuraikkaga we are working now, and this topic is very important. Okay, this is I done. I and my team did a audit in Coimbatore market recently, and a quick video for you. That's all the organic waste, by the way. So that's the organic waste, approximately 500 tons per day being generated at Coimbatore market alone. This is only organic waste we are talking. And another news article, farmers seek relief for crop damage, flag fertilizer shortage. As you all know, every now and then there is a fertilizer shortage news that pop up across India and also in Tamil Nadu. I just want you to mark these pointers, and then we'll talk about it. So organic or kitchen waste, right? So we call it as unutilized organic material. Basically, a vegetable waste, food waste, or garden and lawn clippings are called organic wet or kitchen waste. Anything biodegradable, it's called organic kitchen waste. Okay, organic or kitchen waste. And Chennai City alone generates 3,000 tons of organic waste every day. That's again approximate number. Somewhere, you can go 100, 200 tons here and there. And what will happen because of the unmanaged organic waste and unmanaged organic waste and climate change? I'm sure, I think the introduction, one of the SICCI member was talking about the ESG and how UN is taking a lot of initiatives on climate change. And there is a direct connection between the waste we throw and the climate change. And unutilized organic material, 3,000 tons a day, is getting decomposed in an anaerobic condition in the dump yard, generates methane. And methane is one of the greenhouse gas that is causing the climate change. And another important information for you, the methane is 25% more potent than carbon dioxide in terms of contributing to the climate change. So what is compost? And they're all talking about composting. What is compost? And this is a definition from Wikipedia. Compost is organic matter that has been decomposed in a process called composting. I want you all to underline this word process. This is where the innovation comes, right? Process called composting. Compost is an organic matter that has been decomposed in a process called composting. And there are 3 types of composting: aerobic composting in the presence of oxygen, and anaerobic composting in the absence of oxygen, and that's, as you all know, the vermicomposting with the help of the earthworms. Those are the 3 types of composting. And composting is the exacting science, I said, right? So there are 4 elements, 4 important elements in composting: carbon, air, nitrogen, and water. Why am I giving more, getting into the nuances and details? I will let you know shortly. So the 4 elements of composting: carbon, air, nitrogen, and water. If these 3 elements are not in balance, you are not going to get the very nutrient-rich compost. So the kitchen waste, whatever you throw, the vegetable waste or the food waste, they're all very rich in nitrogen. And the dry leaves are very rich in carbon. All right. Or you can say tender coconut shells or even coconut leaves. All these are going to be rich in carbon. And composting is a process to speed up the natural decay of organic material. And good mixture of carbon and nitrogen material is the key for microbes to thrive. Again, as I said, exacting science. So the microbes need to be present. And the ideal carbon to nitrogen ratio is 30:1. If this ratio, or at least closer to this ratio, is not met, then your compost is not a qualified compost, or when you send it to lab, you will know the value of the carbon and nitrogen. Okay, and too much carbon will slow down the decomposing process, and too much nitrogen will create the foul smell in the pipe. And most of the places when you go, when you talk about composting, knows that composting is all smell, a lot of flies will come. That is because they don't know how to do composting, because composting is an exacting science. So here is the mixture of, this is one of the facility that we manage, mixture of the kitchen waste and the garden waste, or in other words, nitrogen and carbon. Okay, that's the nitrogen and carbon getting mixed. And where the water come from, the kitchen waste will have the moisture in it. That's where the water come from. And we need to check the water routinely to make sure that enough moisture is in there. And here are some numbers for you for the carbon nitrogen ratio. Why am I giving all these details? Because composting is an exacting science. So for the green or kitchen waste, the coffee ground, veggie scrap, grass clippings, or manure, they all will be the carbon nitrogen ratio will be somewhere between 17 to 20 and 1. And whereas in terms of browns, dead leaves or the paper or sawdust, they all very high carbon in them. And another important point, biodegradation versus composting. A lot of people think that they both are same. It's not like that. It's not that simple. In our at least 50-60 years ago, in our backyards, we were all living in small towns. We had a backyard and we dig a pit and put all our kitchen waste, and after 6 months or 1 year, you take it out and go put it in your farm. That's biodegradation, which happens under the ground mostly. Whereas composting is an exacting science. It's a process to accelerate the decaying of organic matter and convert into compost, which happens in a closed container or above the ground. Because the microbes underground, because of the lack of aeration, the effectiveness of the microbes will be like 50% less when compared to the microbes available above the ground. And some of the components that we use, something called BioClean, which is nothing but cocopeat as a medium, which has microbial spores in them, and the microbes are very dormant state. And once you pour water, they all become active and start working on your organic matter. And compost or leachate, every compost bin or a pile, it will leach some liquid because there are a lot of moisture in there in the kitchen waste, so they all will come out. And this liquid has been that seep from the decomposing organic material, and they are also very rich. The liquid is also very rich in nutrient, but you should not take it and use it directly. You have to dilute it. And some of the friends of composters, this guy is called a black soldier fly, or it's a maggot. The one in the sea in the bottom is called a maggot. It's the larva of a fly. It is applied in particular to the larva of Brachysteria flies, such as house flies, cheese flies, and blowflies. And this is a very beneficial insect for the environment and also for composting. What is the duration of the composting cycle? About 4 to 6 weeks if you do it right. And I'm going to show you some of the community composting happening in some of the apartments that we work with. They are called bulk waste generators as per the solid waste management rules 2016. Anybody who generates more than 100 kilos, they are called per day. They are called bulk waste generators. And that's community composting, some pictures there. And this is one of the apartments that we work with, another apartment called KGS. I'm going to play a video now, and you can see the best practice by yourself. It's a 4-minute video. I want you to pay attention. So that's small community composting. What you saw, about 30 kilos or 35 kilos per day they generate, and they've been doing that from the past I think 3 years since 2019. And next is the bulk waste composting that we are doing at one of the micro composting centers that belong to GCC, and at zone 10 in ward 141 in Kanamapet burial ground. Again, another quick video. This is 1.5 tons per day. 1 ton of kitchen waste and half a ton of garden waste. Okay, that's 1.5 ton of organic waste that is being processed every day. Okay, So innovation, you saw some incredible projects that it is happening right now live. You can come any day. I can showcase it to the SICCI members that what is happening in the gated communities and the Kanamapet burial ground in our MCC facility. And what is the innovation here? So just composting, right? As I said, composting is an exacting science, right? And we need to have this perception. That perception and knowing the nuances and having a deeper understanding towards the natural process that is occurring, and also the methodology that you are adopting. Like the windrow, I said, that's the methodology that you adopted, and the four elements of composting, like nitrogen and carbon and the water and the air. All these sciences are put together, and the model has been evolved, right? And I would thank my mentor, Dr. Joshi, for teaching me this. And pretty much it's about the approach and all these, 5 things that I listed here. That's the innovation that we, got here. And because of that, we arrested all the what do I say, the challenges that the GCC is facing, like, they face a lot of leachate or a lot of smell, and a lot of places the people complain wherever the MCC is being operated. There is a smell, and most of them are shut down because of the public protest. That is because the exacting science approach is what not given to the process. So innovation is about the methodology that we adopted, and also the deeper understanding with the nature, how the natural process of biodegradation and how we can mimic that and make it happen on top of the ground. And way forward, this MCC is a phenomenal concept, and 6 problems, we have 1 solution, right? So the first problem is whatever we throw in the name of waste, right? It all being dumped in the dump yard, right? And that is being managed, number 1. Number 2, the space occupied in the dump yards is saved. Number 3, the kitchen waste dumped in the dump yard generates methane, that is reduced. Number 4, the carbon content in our soil is improved because this compost is tested, certified, and has the right amount of carbon nitrogen ratio, and that goes back to the soil, which will enrich the soil with the carbon. Which, if there is enough carbon, then there is going to be more microbes. So these microbes are the one going to be responsible for taking the food that you're giving to the plants and taking it to the plants. And if the environment is nice and conducive, the soil is good, then the plants are going to be healthy. If the plants are healthy, then the farmer don't have to use a lot of pesticides, right? So if there is less pesticide, obviously the consumers like we are going to be healthy, because we are not going to use the pesticide mixed crops, right? So 1 MCC, we have the 6 problems can be solved, but again the exacting science methodology has to be followed. And by the way, there are 200 plus MCCs in Greater Chennai. And coming back to this again slide, fertilizer shortage, think about it, 3,000 tons per day. If the Chennai city composts its entire organic waste, every day we'll be generating 1/3 of 3,000 tons is 1,000 tons. Every day we can generate 1,000 tons of compost, which can be given to the farmers at a subsidized rate, right? So 30,000 tons a month can be produced as a compost. One side, the city's waste problem is solved. On the other side, the farmers' fertilizer shortage is solved. On the other side, the soil's carbon content is improved. So what more you can expect, right? In Tamil, they say, Orukalla, rendu manga, moonu manga, nalu manga, and this is what this is, right? You can get all that done if you run the MCC with the exacting science approach. And the present challenges in the city's solid waste management, GCC is talking about 2-way segregation, Makkum Kupai, Makka Kupai. That's like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, right? Now, as you all said, 10 types, 8 types, 6 types. At least in domestic, we need to separate them into 4 different types: organic waste or kitchen waste, dry recyclable waste, plastic, paper, glass, metal, all those stuff. Number 3 is electronic waste, e-waste. India is the 3rd largest country in generating e-waste after China and the US. And number 4 is the sanitary waste, which contains bodily fluid, which we cannot do anything about. All the 4 types, if we throw differently, that will happen. Organic waste can be composted, dry recyclable waste can be recycled, and the e-waste can be recycled by the e-waste authorized e-waste recycling companies. And only sanitary waste, which contains bodily fluid like diapers, sanitary napkins, band-aids, etc., alone will go to the dump yards, right? And other challenges, the SWM rules 2016 is not being followed effectively. For example, bulk waste generators, they generate more than 100 kilos and they are happily sending their waste out. They are not supposed to send their waste out as per the law, but there is no enforcement. And the micro composting centers, again, there are a lot of gaps available in the MCCs that we went and audited, and those are the challenges. Even MCCs or even MRFs, the material recovery facilities, there are a lot of challenges and gaps, and those need to be resolved. The summary net is the bulk waste generator should be enforced to manage in-house. If you are generating more than 100 kilos per day, you are a Kalyana Mandapam or you are a party hall, you are a restaurant, you have to manage your waste in-house. If you don't have the space, the GCC have to inspect and make sure that they don't have the space, and there should be a user fee collected from them to bring that kitchen waste to the MCC and process it. And the GCC should move from 2-way segregation to 4-way segregation, so that at the beginning itself they all be separated. Because if you think about it, one is kitchen waste, other is non-biodegradable they call. And under non-biodegradable, you have e-waste, you have sanitary waste, you have plastic waste, everything mixed. Then how can we get the pyrolysis working? Pyrolysis will get diaper inside, right? Recycling machine will go, sanitary napkin will go inside. So the 2-way is not going to work. 4-way segregation is the way to go. That's about it. Thank you very much for the opportunity, SICCI and Dr. Janagarajan, and I'm open for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello. Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, Mr. Natarajan. So it was a pleasure really to know the initiatives which you have taken and innovations, especially a lot of learnings for me too. Good. Now, just I'll see some messages. So a lot of messages come in. I think we need to send these recommendations to government. Definitely, the whole idea of this particular virtual conference is to collate as many as ideas as possible and share it with the government. I request the participants to share your thoughts, your ideas on this sustainable waste management to the SICCI email ID. You must have got a invite from that email ID. You can send your suggestions here. Also, if you have any thoughts on how to make similar events in future, that can also be shared with us. We'll be happy to hear that. Inspiring speech, yes. I think some of the recommendations also come in this chat box. We will take all of them. Yes, I don't see any questions pertaining to any of the speakers. Done. So I think Mr. Natarajan, you have shared your recommendations or the way forward. Any other speakers have got any thoughts around? Let's spend another 5 minutes before we close the event. Any other speakers? Dr. Janak, 1 or 2 points which you want to highlight in this forum, which should be followed by GCC to take it to the next level?
Well, Shankar, on the whole, it was such a good show and it was such a great learning experience for all of us. And for me personally, I learned a lot. In fact, it's really, really great. And I would request all the speakers to send to SICCI, to you, 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs, basically by way of recommendations and as way forward concerns, which we can really put them all together in some format and send it to the GCC for implementation. So I would request all the speakers to put forward your experiences so that we can really contribute to change through GCC. And I'm telling you, Gagandeep Singh Bedi is a proactive man. He's extremely proactive man. He's open for criticisms. He's open for suggestions and contributions. I think we'll have to make use of this opportunity. I think that's the thing I would like to say. And Natarajan in particular, I think you should really contribute a lot. And if you can also, having done your work on this biodegradable, the composting, can you also switch on to other types of waste, the recycling? We now talk about generating resource from the waste. So I think that concept should be also highlighted, and with your expertise, you can also, you should also work on it. So that's my suggestion. Particularly, globally, now everybody is talking about, nobody's, I mean, very involved people don't talk about this as a waste. They call it a resource. So what kind of a resource can we generate from this waste is something which we need to work on. I think it's a wonderful. I think SICCI should really make use of this opportunity, and this should not be the only forum. And SICCI should constitute a regular, forum to work on continuously on the waste management. Shankar, I tell you, waste is going to become a serious issue in the days to come. I think there should be a very specific forum work on the waste management in the days to come.
Thanks, Dr. Janak. Thanks for your valuable inputs. Definitely, we'll take this forward. Today, we have got a lot of experts coming in, especially Commissioner himself joined us, and he shared a lot of insights on, he talked about biomedical waste, how important it is. He also discussed the risks associated with collection, segregation, and disposal. He spoke about hazardous waste, and even during Diwali, the waste are going to be segregated and completely disposed in a different location. All the new initiatives which are going to come up in the Greater Chennai Corporation, very, very interesting. We also looked at Dr. Janak spoke a lot on the managing waste, especially he talked about how unnecessary waste produced to be resolved, especially from the e-commerce, the Swiggies, the packaging, the delivery. Now the entire world is shifting towards that. So again, it means that a lot of waste is going to be generated. How to utilize sustainable materials, decrease waste, because trash is also harmful to the environment, especially the clogging of urban drains due to solid waste, dumps causing a lot of floods. I mean, now we are getting into the rainy season. This is very, very important. I mean, end of the day, people attitude should be changed. Community awareness is required regarding the reduce, reuse, recycle. There's been a significant increase in awareness of biomedical waste. Today, we saw a lot of those initiatives from the biomedical waste coming in. All hospitals today, the healthcare organizations are also implementing strict rules and restrictions in handling the biomedical waste, especially post-COVID. There's a huge increase in biomedical waste. The importance of waste composting and various models like micro composting centers and all that, but still it is not grown bigger, very few centers, as Mr. Natarajan was highlighting. So all of us have to contribute to resolve these issues. Very, very important is the importance of technology, the data science, the private and people's participation are important for sustainable waste management. Also, I take this opportunity to thank SICCI for organizing this very interesting webinar, which is need of the hour. As Dr. Janak was highlighting, I think this is going to become a huge challenge. And also it is a huge opportunity for all of us to learn and engage with each other. I would like to thank Gagandeep Singh Bedi, IAS Principal Secretary and Commissioner Greater Chennai Corporation for his valuable inputs. Mr. R.M. Arun, President SICCI, for his continuous support in making this event successful. Unfortunately, he's traveling. He could not join us. Mr. V.N. Shivshankar, Vice President, for his valuable inputs today. Mr. Vinod Solomon, Secretary, for his engagements during this process of finalizing this topic. And very important, Saranya from SICCI for making this event a wonderful and a great success. I thank the infra committee members, all the committee members, especially the vice chair of this committee, Mr. Ramesh. Thank you a lot for his valuable inputs, and all the other members. Especially, I want to say special thanks to Dr. Janak for his constant passion and pushing us towards making this event a great success. And he also brought in the chief guest, which is also very important for this event. I thank all the speakers joined today, starting with Dr. Janak, Mr. Amarnath, Mr. Vardhaman, Mr. Siddharth, Ms. Sudha, Mr. Nadrajan, everybody. I really thank them for their contribution. And we want your further inputs. Please write down, share all your presentations, which unfortunately we could not share it here. Please share the presentations, and also please send 3 or 4 points on what we need from the government is very important. And finally, I thank JLL as knowledge partner, Simon, who's been instrumental in making all of us connect and make this event a wonderful event. So it's a rich experience for all of us. A lot of ideas, a lot of deliberation happened today. We are going to sum up all of them in a white paper format, but including the challenges, including the innovations which we spoke about, the new models which are emerging, and we are going to share it with relevant authorities, not only GCC, we are going to share it with other authorities which are involved in this waste management ecosystem. I thank everyone, and I thank all the speakers, delegates, and Simon JLL for being part of this event. So now I request Saranya to display this video of Ms. Sudha, Apollo Hospitals. Saranya, are you playing that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, are you playing that video, Saranya?
Yes, sir. We'll be playing the video, sir.
Namaste. This video is all about biomedical waste management. What is biomedical waste? Biomedical waste is a waste generated during diagnosis, treatment or immunization of human beings, or animals, or in research activities, or in the production or testing of biologicals. In 2016, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has standardized rules and regulations to handle biomedical waste. As per these rules, BMW is classified into 4 categories: infectious waste, that is color-coded as yellow, clinical waste, as red, bottle waste, and metallic body implants are color-coded as blue, and sharps waste collected in translucent white containers. Now, let's see how the biomedical waste storage area is set. These are the important signs to be displayed. Information board on categories of biomedical waste. Area meant for only authorized personnel. It is a no smoking and tobacco-free zone. The other facilities include PPE cupboard with location-specific items. Trolley wash area. Eye wash and body shower. Hazmat room. And a clean trolley bay. The basic layout of BMW setup starts with different color-coded compartments to store BM waste. The storage compartments are with lock and key facility. Fire safety measures are in place. The entire area is with proper exhaust. The individual compartment doors are with an air vent. Storage compartments to have storage bins, or drums, or trolleys, or spill tray, or elevated platform, so that waste will not be directly on the floor. The other facilities in this area are hand rub, weighing scale, basin area with tissues and dustbins. Janitor cupboard. Here you see food waste storage area. Please note that food and stationery waste are not part of biomedical waste and is handled separately to ensure that food waste storage area is air conditioned with appropriate temperature. Now you can see the BLU staff getting ready, wearing civic uniform biohazard symbol. You can see him wearing a cap, goggles, N95 mask, apron, arm guard, heavy-duty gloves, and gumboots. He ensures that he wears a puncture-proof glove to avoid needle prick injury. The 6 steps involved in biomedical waste management are segregation of waste at source, collection, transportation, storage, clearance from storage area by the authorized vendor, recordable and online. Here, you can see the biomedical waste segregation setup at source, with color-coded bins, sharp container, hub cutter with container. These enclosed color-coded bins with liners are with appropriate signs and are pedal operated. Now, yellow trolley is getting set up to collect infectious waste as per the schedule. The trolley is set with plastic zipper tags, red dusters, spray can with a disinfectant, a clearance checklist, permanent marker, barcoded yellow liners. The staff proceeds for waste collection with yellow trolley that is set with all required items. For the collection process, he takes the appropriate color-coded trolley from clean trolley bay. Waste is cleared when it is 3/4 filled or as and when required. He disinfects the yellow trolley wheels before entering the clean zone. He takes the specific route and elevator to reach the source. As per the clearance schedule, the staff enters the location with the collection trolley. He opens the bin and gathers the mouth of infectious waste liner. And secures with plastic zipper tag. He He transfers the secured filled liner into the collection trolley. After performing hand hygiene, he disinfects the empty bin with a disinfectant, using a red color duster. And places a fresh yellow liner. He ensures that the barcode is intact, along with location marking. He ensures that the fresh liner is tucked in properly on all sides. He performs hand hygiene. The checklist is filled and countersigned by nursing staff. The staff comes back to the common storage area with collected filled liners and get shifted to the storage bins after scanning and recording the weight. The dirty collection trolley is moved to the trolley wash area. The dirty trolley gets cleaned and disinfected to be used for the next cycle of collection. This stainless steel trolley is set and used to collect sharpened bottle wastes. The top shelf is meant for fresh containers, and the filled containers are placed at the bottom. The trolley wheels are getting disinfected prior to entering a clean zone. He enters the specific elevator and reaches the source for collection. As per the clearance schedule, the staff enters the location with the collection trolley. He clears and replaces the filled sharpened hub cutter containers. And replaces with new containers after disinfecting the stand. You can see the same process is followed for hub cutter containers also. Hand hygiene is performed as and when required. Now he goes for bottle waste clearance. He secures the mouth of the filled liner with plastic zipper tag and removes the inner container along with lid. Then he replaces new inner container with fresh liner, after disinfecting the primary bin. Hand hygiene is performed as and when required. Here are other options, shown here for segregation and collection of bottle and sharp wastes. He reaches the common storage area and shifts the filled bottle and sharp containers to the respective storage compartments. The soiled puncture-proof gloves and heavy-duty gloves are kept in plain yellow liner and sent for wash. The stainless steel trolley now gets shifted to the trolley wash area for cleaning and disinfection. The staff performs hand hygiene protocols. The stored waste is handed over to the authorized vendor within 24 hours for further treatment and disposal. The details of the load is recorded for each category of waste and uploaded in online portal on daily basis. The compartments are thoroughly cleaned and disinfected after biomedical waste clearance, and checklist maintained. The authorized vendor, after collecting the biomedical waste from the healthcare facility, transports the waste to the common biomedical waste treatment facility, in closed vehicles, that are GPS enabled. The major treatment processes they follow to treat the waste are incineration, autoclave, shredding, and storage of sharps in cement pits. The vehicles are cleaned and disinfected after every use. So far, we have seen the biomedical waste management process. Now, let us take you through the same with respect to COVID-19. This involves separate setup of storage area, collection trolleys, storage drums. Even the biomedical waste liners have been marked with COVID signs. Double-layer bin liners are used for additional safety. Separate vehicle is identified for COVID waste transportation from healthcare facility. After completion of every cycle, the storage area and the vehicle are cleaned and disinfected. COVID waste that is generated gets recorded separately and transported to the authorized vendor for further treatment. We ensure that staff are with full PPE while handling COVID waste process. Hand hygiene protocols are followed at every step. Biomedical waste management process to comply with the following: 1. Valid biomedical contract. 2. Annual report submission. 3. Site visit by the client twice a year. 4. Biomedical waste committee meeting twice a year. 5. Incident report. Before we conclude this video, please ensure to adhere to the following: 1. Sharps waste containers to be secured to the wall. 2. Please ensure that the quality of bin liners used are as per the state and central government norms. 3. Advise to use enclosed stainless steel trolleys with wheels for collection of sharp and bottle waste. 4. Inventory of sharp containers, hub cutters and BMW related trolleys are maintained. 5. Please ensure that there is no cross-contamination between clean and dirty trolley movement. 6. Checklist should be maintained as per retention period.